So for my first blog ever, I'll be taking all the skill that I've learned from YouTube's great minds like Peter McKinnon, Matti Haapoja. Matti Haapoja, your color grading skills are amazing! Think Media, Potato Jet, and turning this into this. Okay, so this setup might not look as good as I hoped it would look, but the important thing is I started. This is what each and every one of the greats keep telling each and every one of us. You'll be surprised how I got this look using the very, very simple and cheap gear that I have here today. So, quick story. I kind of found myself in a loop going back and forth between watching YouTube videos on lighting, on gear, on B-roll, on how to edit without actually getting started. Even though each and every one of these great YouTubers kept on telling me to just start regardless of what gear I had. So I recently got a few moment lenses for my Pixel 3 XL. Which didn't work out very well because the Pixel 3 XL has got a horrible microphone, and just finding a USB-C cable that is compatible with my phone and a mic that I have right now mounted on the camera which I'm using, which I'm going to get to in a sec, was completely impossible. I think I might have ordered 3 different ones. I didn't try getting the ones from Google themselves because they were freaking expensive. This is a DIY budget setup that I was trying to put together. So this is audio from my Google Pixel 3 XL. I'm just holding it out in front of my camera and you can tell the difference. It's pretty bad. So I found myself in a loop going back and forth between YouTube tutorials on gear and lighting setups and how to start vlogging, how to upload, editing process, and never really just starting. Mainly because I was trying to look as good as, you know, the Peter McKinnons of YouTube, the Matti Haapojas, because when you look at their blogs, they look so beautiful, and you kind of find yourself looking down on yourself, thinking, how am I ever going to create content that looks that good? Because I kept on going back to these guys because of how good their content looks, how they put together their B-roll, how they edit stuff and just join clips to make a really interesting 5, sometimes 30-minute story. I go back to their pages, look at the gear that they had, and every time I found myself sort of trying to find some gear, I would look for the exact same gear that these guys were using, and it's expensive. And in the back of my head, one of the things that stopped me from doing it was I'm never going to get the same quality of content as I would with the gear that I have now if I didn't buy the gear that these guys were using. And again, it's expensive. You'd end up spending $10,000 on a very simple setup, which is a camera, maybe a light, and a really good lens, and $10,000 is done. So what I decided to do was get a very cheap camera and a very cheap light and just start. One light, a very, very DIY bounce board, and a very, very cheap camera and mic cost only, so this is 1.5, so divided by 1.5, 150, 75, so 100, 75, so 100. Cost only $200, you guys, only $200. That's a pretty budget setup that looks as good as I hope it does, because I can't see. My camera does not have a flip out screen, so I will only be able to see what this recording looks like once I'm editing. So, gear. I'm using a very, very old Sony A58. This phone was released in 2012, I think. The reason I'm using this over my Pixel 3 XL is because the Pixel 3 XL mic is horrible. So I figured using a cheap, old, ancient dinosaur of a camera would be pretty much better off because of my sound issue. Plus, I might get just a little bit of that bokeh. I hope you can see it in the background. I'm a bokeh fan. And yes, I do know it's pronounced bokeh, not bouquet. Bokeh. With a basic Comica microphone connected to it, I have a ring light, which is set up on a stand, so slightly high, to sort of get this Rembrandt triangle filling thing that everyone talks about on YouTube. And I have a very DIY bounce board on my right, which is basically just a picture that I stole from my wife's living room, and I taped just a little bit of white paper to it to sort of fill in the shadow that the light was creating on the left. And for my backlight, I just have my computer set up. I'll be using Premiere Pro on my Lenovo P50, which I've had for about 3 years now, and it needs a replacement. It's about to die. My keyboard sometimes falls off, but it's a very, very, very strong laptop. And mind you, I got this secondhand, so this laptop was manufactured back in 2015 or 16, so it's basically 7 years old now, and it's still going strong. Yeah. So here's to the beginning of my vlog channel. I'm hoping I can get content out at least once a week. Sort of find my niche. I will try a bunch of different things because, like Think Media, the guys from Think Media are always saying, just start. And as you start, you will, go through the motions of your learning curve, get better. Hopefully I can get as good as Matty Hapoya, because like he's my inspiration. You're my inspiration, man. Your footage is just, wow.